Queen Elizabeth II's grandchildren-in-law. Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom has 8 grandchildren: William, Harry, Peter, Zara, Beatrice, Eugenie, Louise and James. Their weddings are watched by millions. The births of their children invite gifts from around the world, and their relationships are scrutinized by the media. The young Windsors' choices in partners are defining the future of the British royal family. Let's meet Queen Elizabeth's 6 grandchildren-in-law. Catherine Middleton was born on January 9, 1982, in Reading into an upper-middle-class family. Her father, Michael, is a descendant of Baron Airedale. Catherine's great-grandmother, Olive Middleton, was a close friend of King George VI's sister, Princess Mary. Her grandfather, Peter, gave Prince Philip flying lessons in the 1960s. Catherine's mother, Carol Goldsmith's family, were working-class coal miners. There was some speculation that Carol had Jewish ancestry based on her last name, but genealogists have found no evidence of this. When Catherine was 2, the family moved to Jordan for 2 years, where her father worked for British Airways. Michael worked as a flight dispatcher and Carol as a flight attendant. She was followed by a sister, Philippa, called Pippa, and a brother, James. In 1987, Michael and Carol founded a mail-order party supply company called Party Pieces. The enterprise grew and is currently worth £30 million. This allowed the Middletons to purchase a Georgian mansion and send their children to private boarding schools. Catherine has a talent for sport and captained the women's field hockey team. She took a gap year to study in Florence, Italy, do charity work in Chile, and work as a deckhand at the port of Southampton. She enrolled at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, where she studied art history and worked part-time as a waitress. In 2001, she met fellow student Prince William in their shared dormitory. Catherine caught the prince's eye while walking in a charity fashion show wearing a see-through lace dress, and they began dating. They shared off-campus housing with 2 other students. After graduation, Catherine took a job as an accessories buyer for fashion brand Jigsaw. She visited terminally ill children and organized charity events. She and her sister Pippa shared an apartment in Chelsea purchased for them by their parents. She worked to design and produce catalogs for Party Pieces and launched a line of toddler party supplies. Her relationship with the prince made her a focal point for media attention, much as Diana Spencer had been. Both the palace and her family lawyers tried to warn off the paparazzi. She is often called Kate by the press, but prefers Catherine. She attended William's passing out parade at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst in December 2006, but that spring the couple broke up. In July, Catherine attended the concert for Diana, and she and William got back together. She attended his cousin Peter's wedding and met the Queen. In 2010, Catherine and William moved into a cottage in Anglesey, Wales, where William was training as an RAF helicopter pilot. During a holiday in Kenya, he proposed with his mother's sapphire and diamond engagement ring. The couple wed in Westminster Abbey on April 29, 2011, St. Catherine's Day. The Queen lent her the Cartier scroll tiara made in 1936 for the Queen Mum. The couple exchanged vows witnessed by 300 million people around the world, and then rode a carriage through London to wave at massive crowds of well-wishers. Upon her marriage, Catherine assumed the style Her Royal Highness, and the couple were created Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. They waved from the balcony of Buckingham Palace, enjoyed a wedding breakfast hosted by the Queen, and then partied into the wee hours at a private reception hosted by Prince Charles at Clarence House. The Queen gifted them Amner Hall on the Sandringham estate. They honeymooned on a private island in the Seychelles. The couple's first royal public engagement was to meet U.S. President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. Since then, they have undertaken an increasing number of royal engagements, tours abroad, and patronships of charities. Catherine has been placed on numerous best-dressed lists, and clothes she is photographed in frequently sell out in a flash. This has been called the Kate effect. In 2012, Catherine's first pregnancy was announced, earlier than usual as she had been hospitalized for hyperemesis gravidarum, a severe form of morning sickness. While she was pregnant, the 2013 Succession to the Crown Act was passed. It replaced the centuries-old tradition of male preference primogeniture with absolute primogeniture, meaning that boys no longer supersede girls in the line of succession. So whatever the gender of William and Catherine's first child, it would remain third in line to the throne. Prince George was born on July 22, 2013. Catherine's morning sickness returned with her next two pregnancies. Princess Charlotte arrived on May 2, 2015, and Prince Louis on April 23, 2018. They are fourth and fifth in line to the throne, respectively. In 2017, William retired from his career as a Royal Air Force helicopter pilot so that he and Catherine could focus on their numerous royal duties and charitable causes. They have taken on a great deal as the Queen and Prince Charles have aged. Catherine is particularly interested in causes supporting young children, mental health, sport, addiction, and art. Her impact on charitable donations has also been called the Kate effect. In March 2022, the couple embarked on a tour of Belize, Jamaica, and the Bahamas, considered to be a charm offensive to keep the former British colonies from leaving the Commonwealth. The visit was marred by tone-deaf optics and protests calling for the monarchy to apologize for its part in the slave trade. Days after the couple's departure, Jamaica announced that they would leave the Commonwealth. In September 2022, Queen Elizabeth died and Charles became king. William inherited a number of titles from his father, including Duke of Cornwall. The next day, the king created his son Prince of Wales. As his wife, Catherine is now Princess of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall and Cambridge. The couple visited Wales, where they were welcomed by some and protested by others. Back in 1283, King Edward I murdered the native Welsh princes and granted the title to his son. There is a growing movement in Wales that the title be abolished. William and Catherine have learned from their Caribbean trip and expressed their desire to throw out the rulebook and focus on deepening trust with the Welsh people. Therefore, there are currently no plans for William to have an investiture ceremony similar to the one his father had in 1969, for fear of further provoking the Welsh people. Catherine is expected to be queen consort someday when William inherits the throne. Meghan Markle was born Rachel Meghan Markle on August 4, 1981, in Los Angeles, California. Her mother, Doria, was a social worker, and her father, Thomas, was a director of photography and lighting on TV shows. He often brought Meghan with him to the set of the sitcom Married with Children. Meghan has two older half-siblings on her father's side whom she is not close to. At age 11, she was profiled by Nick News for her successful letter-writing campaign to get Procter & Gamble to change a sexist commercial. She convinced the company to change the wording "women are fighting greasy pots and pans" to "people." While earning her degree at Northwestern University in Chicago, Meghan joined Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority and worked as an intern at the American Embassy in Buenos Aires, Argentina. After college, she returned to Hollywood to try and make it as an actress. She appeared in bit parts on shows including General Hospital, CSI New York, Fringe, and as a briefcase model on the game show Deal or No Deal. Between acting gigs, she utilized her hobbies of calligraphy and bookbinding to make extra money. She eventually earned bigger roles in movies Get Him to the Greek, Remember Me, and Horrible Bosses. In 2011, Meghan married fellow actor Trevor Eggleston, but the couple divorced 18 months later. Meghan was cast as Rachel Zane in the legal drama Suits, on which she worked for 7 years. She also launched a lifestyle website called The Tig and a fashion line. In 2016, a friend set Meghan up on a blind date with Prince Harry. A great deal of tabloid speculation circled the couple, who made their first public appearance together at the Invictus Games the following year. Their engagement was announced in 2017. On May 19, 2018, the couple were wed in a star-studded ceremony at St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle. The service was watched by hundreds of millions of viewers around the world and included nods to Meghan's African-American culture, in addition to the traditional Anglican service. Meghan's dress was designed by Claire Waite Keller for Givenchy. The Queen lent her the diamond bandeau tiara made in 1932 for Queen Mary. Her Majesty granted the couple the titles Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Meghan joined her new husband in his charity work, royal engagements, and overseas tours. On May 6, 2019, they welcomed a son, Archie. The family, and Meghan in particular, have faced a barrage of negative, often racist media coverage and invasions of their privacy. Much as Diana and Fergie had been 3 decades earlier, William and Catherine are often cast in the press as the saints and Harry and Meghan as the sinners. 72 female members of the British Parliament sent an open letter of support to Meghan, condemning the distasteful coverage she had received. Thus, in January 2020, they announced they were stepping back from their roles as senior royals and moving to North America. The departure was dubbed Megxit and set off a media storm around the couple. They initially moved to Canada, but after their location was leaked to the press and they received death threats, they hid out at the California mansion of Tyler Perry, just as the world went into lockdown during COVID-19. They purchased a mansion in Santa Barbara, California, using funds left to Harry by Princess Diana. In 2021, shortly before Meghan was scheduled to be interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, a former palace employee came forward, claiming that she had bullied 3 other employees who wished not to come forward themselves, and that she wore earrings given to her by a Saudi prince who was later implicated in the assassination of a journalist. Meghan's lawyers have stated that she was unaware of the accusations against the prince, and that the allegations of bullying are just not true and are part of a palace smear campaign against her. Meghan and Harry sat down for an interview with Oprah Winfrey to tell their side of their departure from the royal family. They claimed the royals had refused to protect them as they did other family members, and that Meghan was on the brink of suicide but was refused help. They also alleged that an unnamed member of the family made racist comments about their son Archie's skin color, and that the family decided not to give him personal security or the title of prince. The interview accelerated calls in Australia, Barbados, Canada, Jamaica, and other nations to leave the Commonwealth, and widened the rift in the royal family. On June 4, 2021, Meghan delivered a daughter, Lilibet Diana, who was given the Queen's childhood nickname and Harry's mother's name. The couple are currently based in California. They have penned deals to produce a podcast and television shows. Meghan wrote a children's book called The Bench, and the couple are involved in a number of charitable organizations. When the Queen died in 2022, Meghan and Harry were in London attending charity events. The couple were seen with the rest of the royal family attending the funeral. Now that Archie and Lilibet are grandchildren of the monarch, they should be titled Prince and Princess, according to letters patent issued by King George V in 1917. However, according to the royal family website, they remain untitled. It remains unclear if the king has not granted permission, or if Harry and Meghan have decided that their children should not be titled Prince and Princess. Autumn Kelly was born on May 3, 1978, in the English-speaking West Island region of Montreal, Canada. Her father was an electric company executive. She has an older brother named Kevin and a twin brother named Christopher. Her parents divorced when Autumn was 8. She has 2 younger half-siblings. Autumn attended Catholic school where she excelled at sport. While at McGill University, she worked as a bartender and model and had small roles in the 1996 film Rainbow and television series Sirens. She completed a degree in East Asian Studies and began a career as a managing consultant. She accepted a job with a computer company and was planning to move to London. Before packing her bags, she attended the 2003 Canadian Grand Prix, where she met Peter Phillips, who was working for Williams F1 at the time. She didn't know he was a royal until she saw him on TV 6 weeks later. When Autumn arrived in London, she moved into Peter's Kensington Palace apartment. She worked for the computer firm and later as a personal assistant for broadcaster Michael Parkinson, while also attending royal events, including the Queen's 80th birthday. Philip proposed in 2007, and his grandmother, the Queen, gave her consent, per the Royal Marriages Act of 1772, which required all members of the royal family to seek the monarch's permission before marrying. Autumn was raised Catholic but converted to Anglicanism before the wedding. Had she remained Catholic, then according to the British law of the time, Peter and their children would have been disqualified from the line of succession. The media brought attention to the 1701 Act of Settlements bar on Catholics inheriting the throne, and the government was pressured to repeal the act in 2011. The requirement for all royals to seek the monarch's permission to marry was also removed. Under the Succession to the Crown Act 2013, now only the first 6 people in the line of succession need permission. At the time, Peter was 11th. During their engagement, Autumn and Peter granted an interview to Hello magazine for £500,000, ruffling royal feathers. The couple wed on May 17, 2008, at St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle. Peter was the first of the Queen's grandchildren to marry. Autumn's dress was designed by Sassy Holford. Her mother-in-law, Anne Princess Royal, lent her the festoon tiara, which she had received in 1973 in Hong Kong. Her necklace and earrings were a gift from Peter. The couple rode in a carriage to Frogmore House for the reception. The couple spent 2 years living in Hong Kong, where Peter had a job at the Royal Bank of Scotland. They returned to the UK in 2010, in time to welcome their first child and the Queen's first great-grandchild, Savannah. Like her mother, she has dual British and Canadian citizenship. 2 years later, the couple had a second daughter, Isla. In 2019, Autumn and Peter announced their separation. Their divorce was finalized in 2021. Autumn began a relationship with Donald Mulryan, founder of construction company Rockwell, and Peter is dating Lindsay Wallace, a British socialite. Autumn lives in Cirencester Village, near Peter's home at Gatcombe Park, so that they can both raise their children. Michael Tindall, known as Mike, was born on October 18, 1978, in Yorkshire. His father was a banker and captained the Otley Rugby Union Football Club. His mother was a social worker. Mike's ancestors include bootmakers, stonemasons, weavers, blacksmiths, and farmers. He attended a private grammar school and began a career in professional rugby at 18. He wore the number 13 jersey out of superstition and was nicknamed the Fridge because of his bulk. He was on the England team when they won the 2003 Rugby World Cup. That was where he met Zara Phillips, the Queen's eldest granddaughter, and the pair began dating. In 2005, while recuperating from an injury, Mike came in 3rd place in the British Poker Open tournament. In 2007, the Queen awarded him an MBE, or Member of the British Empire, for his contribution to rugby. Zara is a world champion equestrian, and she and Mike bought a steeplechaser named Moonbag Dude together. The horse won the Welsh Grand National and finished 3rd in the Grand National. Mike and Zara became engaged in 2011 and wed on July 30th at Canongate Kirk in Edinburgh. During the 2011 Rugby World Tour in New Zealand, Mike participated in a so-called dwarf tossing event at a pub. He was fined £25,000 by the Rugby Football Union and was removed from its elite player squad. He has also had 2 convictions for drunk driving. In 2014, Mike announced his retirement from professional rugby. Later that year, he and Zara welcomed their first child, Mia. They suffered 2 miscarriages before the birth of Lena in 2018 and Lucas in 2021. They live on Princess Anne's Gatcombe Park estate. In 2018, Mike underwent surgery to repair his nose, which had been broken at least 8 times during his rugby career. He now hosts a podcast called The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby. He works as a brand ambassador for bookmakers Betway and for UFX Markets. He is also involved in a number of sports-related charities, including Right to Play and Sport Relief, and he hosts several charity celebrity golf tournaments. Edoardo Mapelli-Mozzi, known as Edo, was born in London on November 19, 1983. His father, Alessandro, is a member of an Italian noble family, which was granted the title of Count in 1913 by King Victor Emmanuel III. Since the abolishment of the Italian monarchy in 1946, noble titles are no longer recognized by the Italian government. But Alessandro still uses the courtesy title of Count, which is equivalent to an Earl in the UK. Alessandro came to the UK to attend boarding school and then stayed to work as an art dealer. He represented Britain in the 1972 Olympics as an alpine skier. Alessandro wed Nikki, the daughter of a British politician, and they had 2 children, Natalia and Edoardo. They divorced and Nikki married British politician Christopher Shale and had a 3rd child, Albie. Nikki and Christopher were close friends with Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, and Edoardo and Princess Beatrice met several times as they grew up. Edoardo earned a master's degree in politics at the University of Edinburgh. He was then hired by his stepfather to work as a researcher for future Prime Minister David Cameron. With the support of his family, he started Bando, a residential property development and interior design company. The enterprise has made Edo a multi-millionaire. In 2011, Christopher Shale's body was found in a portable toilet at the Glastonbury Festival. He had died of a heart attack. He'd been setting up a charity called Cricket Builds Hope, which aims to use cricket for positive social change in Rwanda. Edo and his brother Albie took up the cause and established the charity. Edo cycled 100 kilometers overnight to raise funds. He was engaged to American architect Dara Hong, and the couple had a son, Christopher Wolfe, in 2016. The pair broke off their engagement in 2018. Around the same time, Edo began dating his childhood friend, Princess Beatrice. Edo proposed while on holiday in Italy with an engagement ring he designed himself. The news was announced in September 2019, and they planned a wedding at the Royal Chapel at St. James's Palace, with a private reception in the gardens of Buckingham Palace in the spring of 2020. But the outbreak of COVID-19 cancelled those plans. Instead, the pair wed in a much smaller private ceremony on July 17, 2020, at the Royal Chapel of All Saints at Royal Lodge, Windsor. They posed for socially distanced photos with the Queen and other close family members. On September 18, 2021, Edo and Beatrice welcomed a daughter, Sienna Elizabeth. They brought Christopher Wolfie with them to the Queen's Platinum Jubilee pageant in 2022. Jack Brooksbank was born on May 3, 1986 in London. His family is upper class and has several royal connections. His father, Edward, was a company director and chartered accountant who attended Eton College, the elite boys' boarding school at which Princes William and Harry also matriculated. The Brooksbanks are descended from both King Edward III and King James II. The family once owned Hilo Manor in Yorkshire, a priory which was converted to a private mansion during Henry VIII's disillusionment of the monasteries. In 1919, Jack's great-grandfather, Edward, was granted a baronetcy. This title is hereditary, but the holder is not a peer of the realm. The 1,245 baronets in the UK are addressed as Sir or Dame. The Brooksbank baronetcy is currently held by Jack's cousin. Jack was named after his maternal great-grandfather, Sir John Jack Spencer Cook, a gentleman usher to both King George VI and Queen Elizabeth II. Jack's ancestor, Thomas Cook, Earl of Leicester, is also an ancestor of Sarah Ferguson, so Jack and Princess Eugenie are third cousins twice removed. Jack attended Stowe School. He has a younger brother, Thomas, who went to Eton. Jack started at the University of Bristol, but left before finishing a degree. He worked as a bartender and then a general manager at Mahiki, a Polynesian-themed nightclub in Mayfair, London. The club was well known in the 2000s for its celebrity clientele, including Princes William and Harry. In 2011, 24-year-old Jack met 20-year-old Princess Eugenie while skiing in Verbier, Switzerland. The pair continued dating long distance while Eugenie moved to New York City for her career. Jack worked as a brand ambassador for George Clooney's tequila Casamigos and ran his own wholesale wine venture. In 2018, the couple announced their engagement and moved into Ivy Cottage on the Kensington estate. They wed on October 12, 2018, at St. George's Chapel, Windsor. There was media speculation that Jack would be granted an earldom, but like Mark Phillips, he did not, establishing a new custom for commoner men not to be elevated to the peerage when they marry a British princess. Jack and Eugenie welcomed their first child, August Phillip, on February 9, 2021. He was christened alongside Zara Tindall's son, Lucas, in a private service attended by the Queen. In 2022, Jack took a new job working for a property developer in Portugal. The couple announced that they would split their time between Portugal and the UK. As the Queen's two youngest grandchildren, Lady Louise and James, Viscount Severn, are still in their teens, it remains to be seen who they marry and what new in-laws join the British royal family. Want even more tea on history? Check out the History Tea Time podcast, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment your thoughts, and check out my other royal history videos. If you really want to help, please consider supporting me on Patreon. A link is in the description. Thank you for watching.